Tizo Touchdown, if you are not familiar with him, that kid's an alien in the best way possible. It's weird in a good way, but it's accessible. Check him out.
In that excerpt from Tyler the Creator's Hot 97 interview from last August, he praised Texas native singer and rapper Tizo Touchdown, who was featured on his 6th studio album on his 8th track, Run It Up. On top of this feature, Tizo will also support Tyler the Creator throughout his upcoming Call Me If You Get Lost tour. While this cosign put Tizo Touchdown onto mainstream ears, his career precedes Call Me If You Get Lost released by a decade. Because of this, I want to dig into what makes Tizo Touchdown so special, and why he sticks out amongst his peers. Let's begin by rewinding back a decade to Beaumont, Texas' Ozen High School, where Tizo Touchdown launched his rap career under the stage names Tizo Suave and AT with the track William Shatner.
Losing's not an option. If I like it, I'ma copy. Why you niggas cock blocking? Me and my team is battle popping.
Within that same month, he also headlined the Class of 2011 National Anthem, a student-made rap celebrating their graduation. The latter was Tizo's first production credit, with one of his friends shouting out that TZ was on the beat. These two tracks function as a time capsule, because they perfectly represent the high school-made amateur trap music videos that covered YouTube throughout the early 2010s. With William Shatner in the Class of 2011 National Anthem being over a decade old now, it is wild to see how Tizo Touchdown's image, aesthetic, and sound have radically transformed since then. Although we were able to explore his first tracks in detail, Tizo Touchdown does not have much of a musical footprint until 2019, because most of his music prior to February 2019 has been wiped. While archived projects, old production credits, his work under Atlanta label Cake Supply, and evidence of a defunct music video production company can be found online from this period, this early history of Tizo Touchdown does not hold much weight anymore because of Tizo's personal decision to archive it. In 2019, Tizo Touchdown re-emerged after he was taken on by his current manager, Amal Noor, after she saw his performance of 100 Drums, an anti-gun violence anthem written over the Panic at the Disco I Write Sins Not Tragedies instrumental. Noor's attraction to Tizo Touchdown off hearing 100 Drums is valid, because the song is a powerfully raw reflection by Tizo on the gun violence occurring in his hometown, with Beaumont having one of the highest crime rates in the country. This positive reception to 100 Drums is not exclusive to Noor, as multiple artists, most importantly Trippie Redd, took notice of the track. Although Trippie Redd and Tizo Touchdown have yet to collaborate, their bond clearly runs deep, judging by their history together since the release of 100 Drums, with Trippie likely acting as a mentor figure to Tizo. Since that initial discovery, Tizo Touchdown was in Trippie Redd's Murder music video and sat in on his interview with the publication Montreality, during which he stole the show. Comparing their sounds and aesthetics, I believe that Trippie Redd influenced Tizo Touchdown in his implementation of the punk rock and emo aesthetic into his sound and image. Beyond this association with Trippie Redd, Tizo Touchdown stayed generally quiet up until July 2020, besides releasing the single Slice and a mix of Roddy Ricch's The Box. While Slice is a quality single, it comes from a weird in-between time period for Tizo Touchdown since he had begun shifting his career but was still partnered with the label Cake Supply, who released much of his now erased catalog. This career shift began when Amal Noor emailed him that, "I came across your music a few months ago and I've been watching you for a while now. I think you're incredible and would love the chance to meet you in person sometime," to which Tizo responded, "Let's link." With this, Amal Noor added Tizo Touchdown to her roster of clients alongside Super Mario and Marcus Yates. Through her guidance, the artist Tizo Touchdown went through a complete overhaul, rebranding, and repackaging. In July 2020, he re-emerged with the track Strong Friend, which was accompanied by a high-budget music video, cover art, and production. While Tizo Touchdown certainly had the it factor prior to his partnership with Noor, it is obvious that her help led to the consistently great marketing, music videos, and branding that propelled him to his current success. Strong Friend was the first in a series of 8 loosely connected singles, with their connections stemming from the music videos all taking place in front of the same abandoned garage in the fictional town of Midvale, Texas. In retrospect, it is clear that Tizo Touchdown used the Midvale era as an opportunity to experiment with the sound and find his niche. Furthermore, he used the abandoned garage as a canvas to paint a picture of his aesthetic and slowly ease his audience into the weird and oddball aesthetic that he embodies today. Even if the Midvale era's tracks have a great deal of variety, they are still cohesive through their shared punk rock aesthetic, positive energy, and cinematic quality. To begin, we can group together Strong Friend, Careful, Technically, and Rooting for You, because these tracks are low-key production-wise, yet a playful performance. These songs are not groundbreaking, but they are quality tracks because they display Tizo Touchdown putting out music from a lane that he is clearly comfortable in. Of these, Rooting for You sticks out for its tongue-in-cheek lyrics, with Tizo proclaiming to his love interest, a Grambling State University sorority pledge, that he is rooting for you, looting for you, intruding for you, shooting for you. Also, the storytelling of the song becomes even stronger when it is noted that Tizo dons a tiger mascot costume in its music video, with Grambling State's mascot being the Grambling Tiger. Maybe Tizo thinks this is the best way he can stick out to his love interest. Anyway, let's move on by looking at Sucka, where Tizo and featured artist Fred Flipstone shows a hypothetical Sucka across a 3-minute runtime. While the track's premise is comical, Tizo's punk inflection blended with his choppy flow, alongside Fred Flipstone's verse that a YouTube commenter perfectly labeled as awkward but fire, culminates into an extremely catchy track. To fast forward, that football imagery that we saw in the Rooting for You music video was fully embraced on Bad Enough, with Tizo acting as the halftime performer at Midville's local high school football game. Bad Enough is very fitting for a high school halftime performance because it sounds like a mid-2000s alt-rock track that could be placed on the soundtrack for a coming-of-age film. As we move into our dissection of the final track in the Midville era, Mid, I want to share the following excerpt of a local broadcast from Midville.
Alright, Mr. Coop, how did you think the Mid got here?
Well, see, the mayor ain't gonna tell you this, or the government neither, but they basically planted the Mid in the streets of the hood for all the kids to come up and not want to be great.
That excerpt from one of the mayoral campaign and Rid the Mid protest skits released to support the track Mid is the result of a bar from his Run It Up feature, in which Tizo proclaimed that he was running like a politician. Tizo's capitalization of that feature by transforming it into a multi-part social media skit campaign is one of the most genius and creative marketing moves I've seen in the music industry in a long time. With it being the climax of the Midville series, I believe that the song is a representation of everything Tizo Touchdown's worked to accomplish these past few years, as it combines his social media skits, viral marketing tactics, personal aesthetic, punk rock attitude, unique sound, and theatrics all into one package deal. Although fun while it lasted, Mid was the last leg of the Midville series because on September 25th, 2021, Tizo released his latest single, I'm Just a Fan, an introspective reflection on his career and personal life. Throughout the track, he compares himself to a literal fan, going unappreciated while in use and simply being thrown to the side and forgotten while not in use, a metaphor for how fans are put away and forgotten throughout the winter. While a melancholic reflection, it is the most personal and thought-provoking Tizo's penmanship has been throughout his career. I appreciate that Tizo Touchdown is progressing past the Midville series and becoming a more mature artist, because while I did not put any stock in it, many critics claim that Tizo Touchdown's flashy aesthetic and theatrics made it for his music's lacks of substance, with I'm Just a Fan putting that conversation to rest. I'm glad that Tizo Touchdown's career is at such a high point right now, because as Tizo Touchdown advertises across his socials, don't worry, you're early to the world of Tizo Touchdown. I'm looking forward to future singles from him and a first project whenever he feels that the time is right. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching. If you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. And if you like this video, feel free to leave me a like below. I just launched a Patreon, so if you want to help support me and improve the quality of these videos, feel free to support me on there as well. The benefits of my Patreon include being a credited producer in each video, access to my monthly playlist, access to all video scripts, and early access to new videos. Thanks so much.